Hi, loves. All right. So we're here at the Adobe Max conference. It starts in about 10 more minutes. And I'm just going to show you my schedule for today. So this is my schedule for today, just this one line. First, we're going to do the Adobe Max Keynote, where kind of they do the introductions to this whole shebang. And then at 10:30, we're going to do the InDesign type and layout part 1. So it's part 1 of a couple different days. So we'll do InDesign type and layout, as you can see here, part 1, part 2 tomorrow, and then we'll have a part 3. So that's quite nice for our second years and those looking into being second years next year. We've got the Illustrator workflows part 1. This one is supposed to be a way to just really streamline everything that you do in Adobe Illustrator so things can happen faster and more efficient. And then tomorrow there's going to be an Illustrator Workflows Part 2, and on Thursday an Illustrator Workflows Part 3. Okay. Also, graphic design at 11:30, from blank screen to something. I don't remember the title, but that's going to be about an hour session. And then we're going to do at, I believe this is 1 o'clock, they're using military time, After Effects Basics Part 1. I believe there is no After Effects Basics Part 2, which kind of stinks. Yeah, but you know. After that, there is a presentation by the designers of Mattel, and they talk about the three-dimensional design and reimagining of Barbie, which I think is really cool. I used to be like a Barbie fiend. So you want to animate After Effects. So they're going to be talking about that. I do think I have another After Effects in here somewhere. Oh, there's another one. I'm kind of worried that it might be the exact same one, but I guess we'll find out. Oh no, there's a part 3, and then tomorrow there's a part 2. Okay, so I did do the full series of Adobe After Effects. Yay. Essentials in Designing Part 1. So this is for InDesign. I think, let's see, do I have Essentials? I have Adobe InDesign Part 3, but it doesn't say Essentials. So some of this stuff we'll figure out as we go along. Some things I really wanted to get in to the schedule, and I just couldn't get other things in because there's so much to do with this conference and just not enough hours. There's also 3D for designers, an introduction into Adobe Dimension. We kind of want to play with that and animate because we were talking about having computer animation clubs. So yeah, I popped those in. 3D painting, a texture workshop using a substance painter. I'm super excited about that. It is part 1, and I have no idea where part 2 and 3 are. So yeah, maybe I'll be able to figure out more of that as the day goes on. And then tomorrow I'll talk to you about the Wednesday schedule, and then the Thursday schedule, I'll talk to you guys about that. All right. So right now with Adobe Max, they are, so if I go to live, they're doing a cool little slideshow of different stuff. And no sound. There we go.
I love writing rhymes.
I hope it doesn't sound like garbage for you guys.
You know, I can look at a window and wonder what's going on in that crib. You know what I mean? This is how I relate with people and learn how to vicariously see through other people's eyes. This is Rakim. I'm with my man J. Period. And of course, this is the live mixtape. From the home of a million legends and trend setting, a lot of footsteps to follow. I've been stepping, mind stressing, trying to find direction, crime spreading. Time precious, I ain't had rest since 9/11. I live fast and hustle like today is my last. I get cash to struggles like a day on the ad. Crack being raw, gas squeezing off, my hat squeezing off, casualties of war. The evil in the apocalypse, evil people in politics, every block is a list in the metropolitan metropolis. The opposite of lies of Manelli and Frank Sinatra. Alicia Keys and all the raw with the gangsters opera. So New York City, walk with me, talk pretty. It's up to us, New York, it's our city. So here the man come with the anthem, hands up. It's time to build it back, New York, stand up. New York City.
This is a journey into sound.
Let's go. J. Period.
This is a journey into sound.
Some nice motion graphics there. Wow.
A journey which along the way will bring to you new color, new dimension, new value.
Okay, party people in the house. You're about to witness something you've never witnessed before.
Some very cool filmography to like push the vibe of the video.
So you all don't miss.
Pump up the volume, pump up the volume. Thinking of a master plan. This ain't nothing but sweat inside my hands. So I dig into my pocket, all my money spent. I dig deeper, still coming up with lint. So I start my mission, leave my residence. Thinking how could I get some dead presidents? I need money. I used to be a stick-up kid, so I think of all the devious things I did. I used to roll up, this is a hold up. Ain't nothing funny, stop smiling. You still want nothing move but the money. But now I learn to earn, cause I'm righteous. I feel great, so maybe I might just search for a 9 to 5. If I strive, then maybe I'll stay alive. So I walk up the street, whistling this, feeling out of place, cause man, do I miss a pen and a paper, a stereo, a taper. Me and JP and a nice big plate of fish, which is my favorite dish. But without no money, it's still a wish. Cause I don't like to dream about getting paid. So I dig into the books of the rhymes that I made. So now the test to see if I got full. Hit the studio, cause I'm paid in full.
Make a clap to
J.
this.
Period.
To show our appreciation
Rock
for
him
your
experience.
support.
Make
Yeah.
a clap to this.
Thank you, DJs.
Let's go.
Hip-hop's always been at the edge of driving culture and just pushing the envelope. Being unique and being original was a big part of hip-hop at the time. My first experience with a professional producer got with Marley Marl, and Marley Marl thought my style was a little laid back. Kept saying, yo, could you put a little more energy, a little more energy? Something told me to stick to my guns, and the rest is history.
We just getting started. Yeah. I came in the door, said it before. I never let the mic magnetize me no more, but it's fighting me, inviting me to rhyme. I can't hold it back. I'm looking for the line, taking off my coat, clearing my throat. The rhyme will be kicking in till I hit my last note. My mind remains to find all kind of ideas. Self-esteem, make it seem like the thought took years to build. Still say a rhyme after the next one. Prepared, never scared, I'll just press one. And you know that I'm the solo with JP. Make it clap to this. Yeah. I don't put out a chill, won't be acting ill. No tricks in 86, it's time to build. Be easy on the cut, no mistakes allowed. Custom me, MC, me move the crowd. I made it easy to dance to this. But can you dissect what's coming next from the flex of the wrist? Indeed, and not receive, cause my man made a mix. Every greedy won't need no band-aid to fix his fingertips. So I'm rhyming till there's no rhymes left. Hurry up because the cut'll make him bleed to death. But he's kicking it, cause it ain't no half-stepping. Party is loud, the rhyme can't be kept. Inside of me, the eruption just like a volcano. It ain't the everyday style or the same old rhyme. I'm better than the rest of them. JP is on the cut and my name is Rod. It's been a long time. I shouldn't have left you without a strong rhyme to step to. Think of how many weeks shows you slept through. Time's up. Sorry I kept you. Thinking of this, you keep repeating your miss. The rhyme from the microphone solo whistle. You sit by the radio, hand on the dial zone. As you hear it, pump up the volume. Dance with the speaker till you hear it blow. Then plug in the headphone, cause here it go. It's a full of the word when it's heard to control your body to dance. So, sky text the tempo like a red alert. Reaches your reflex and let it work. Cause when this is playing, you can't get stuck with a step so cassette numbers still come up with a gift to be swift, follow the leader. The rhymical, death with a record that was mixed a long time ago. It could be done, but only I could do it. For those that could dance and clap their hands to it. I start to think, then I sink into the paper. Like I was ink when I'm writing, I'm trapped in between the line. I escape when I finish the rhyme. I got soul. J period. Big up to Adobe.
That was funny. I think we're starting to enter the keynote speeches. Woo! This is a gorgeous beginning. Oh my god, guys. Don't you think so? That's so pretty. Wow. Try to make this a little bigger for you, since they're not using the whole screen. Yeah.
From Los Angeles, California, at the Largo Theater, please welcome Conan O'Brien.
Hello.
Who's in an empty studio all by himself? Yay!
Hello. I'm Conan O'Brien. You may know me as the host of a late-night talk show for the past 27 years. But of course, my real passion has always been the development of creativity software, with particular emphasis on collaborative design modules, including plugin APIs, voice prototyping, and of course, customizable loading sequences supported by UI microkit interactions.
He made that sound really boring.
That's why I'm here in Los Angeles, at the Largo Theater, to hear the Adobe Max keynote address, especially given my new capacity as the self-appointed Adobe Chief Originative Officer, Senior Vice President of Adobe Vice Presidents, and Fire Marshal for the Adobe San Jose Cafeteria Fortnite Society. Yes, let's see if Adobe CEO Shantanu Narayan and his team have the goods as well as the guts to address one of my specific concerns, the introduction of CEP 10.0 featuring the CEF v74 upgrade and corollary addition of an async iterators and CSS Paint API, along with the removal of TLS 1.0 and 1.1, blah, blah, blah. You knew where I was going with that. Now I give you Shantanu Narayan.
Thanks, Conan. Welcome to Adobe Max. Adobe is the digital experiences company, and our teams have set a high bar for what digital events should look like in this environment. And thanks to our community who helped create the stunning work you'll see this week through our Co-Create Max program. I'm at the Largo Theater in Los Angeles. Thanks, Conan, for hosting us. And online, we're joined by millions of people around the world for our largest Adobe Max ever.
What's up?
While I miss the camaraderie of our in-person gathering, this year's event demonstrates the power of digital to bring us all together now. What a challenging year it's been. The global pandemic has caused immense stress as each of us focus on protecting the health and safety of our loved ones. The isolation we're experiencing has underscored the need for human connection. Ongoing tragic acts of racial injustice remind us of the long road ahead to create an equal world for everyone. Extreme environmental conditions signify the stark impact of climate change. We are truly enduring unprecedented circumstances. But these trying times have also illuminated that creativity has never been more important, because creativity connects us, enables us to learn, encourages us to speak out, and gives us a way to cope. We've seen it everywhere this year. In Italy, people singing together on balconies while quarantined. Artists taking to painting powerful murals reinforcing that Black Lives Matter. The launch of Some Good News, a show rounding up good things happening in this world, edited with Premiere Pro. And the Baltimore County Public School District, an Adobe customer, compiling over 800 pieces of art made by students, parents, and teachers. At Adobe, because we know coloring is a great creative outlet, we created the Adobe Coloring Book, launching 11 chapters to date that feature the work of 70 artists. To continue to cultivate the next generation of creators, we partnered with National Geographic on the Storytelling for Impact series, which offers free online courses on creative storytelling. To aid with the transition to remote learning, we provisioned 30 million students in the US alone with free at-home access to Creative Cloud. And through the Honor Heroes campaign, our community paid tribute to valiant frontline workers. And for me personally, when I was unable to travel to India to celebrate my father's 90th birthday, I used Adobe InDesign and Lightroom to make a digital album so we could feel connected and celebrate from afar. Creativity is at Adobe's core. And today, as people seek new ways to not only create, but also communicate, learn, and conduct business digitally, our mission to change the world through digital experiences has never been more relevant or meaningful. With content creation and consumption exploding across every device, we're unleashing creativity for all with Adobe Creative Cloud. As documents become central to business continuity in today's remote work environment, we're accelerating document productivity with Adobe Document Cloud. And as companies look to engage with their customers digitally, we're powering digital businesses of all sizes with Adobe Experience Cloud. Adobe's 23,000 employees around the globe are rallied around this vision to create products and experiences that inspire people, transform industries, and move the world forward. In a world where connecting visually has never been more important, it's clear that content is fueling the digital economy. Creation and consumption across phones, tablets, and desktops is exploding. Web content, mobile application creation, imaging, video, animation, screen design, augmented reality, and 3D are all surging in this era of digital storytelling. Driving this content revolution is Adobe Creative Cloud, the world's creative engine. And our strategy is centered on 5 tenets. We believe that creativity is a fundamental skill, and we want to empower every voice, from creative professionals to students, to businesses, communicators, and small businesses, as well as the world's largest companies. Flagship products like Photoshop, Lightroom, Premiere Pro, Illustrator, InDesign, and Acrobat enable millions of creators around the world every single day. Mobile applications like Photoshop Camera, Photoshop Express, and Adobe Scan allow every type of creator to capture, enhance, and share content within seconds. Integrated services like Adobe Stock and Adobe Fonts help kickstart the entire creative process. We're also focused on helping you create whenever and wherever inspiration strikes, making technology the invisible and powerful undercurrent of the creative process. And seamless workflows in applications enable you to go from desktop to mobile and back. We know how important collaboration is between all the people who touch the creative process, especially in today's remote work environment. As we all reimagine the future of work, we will ensure that you're able to create and collaborate without missing a beat. We continue to embrace new frontiers of creativity across new modalities, media types, and devices. When I think about Adobe's role in shaping the future of creativity, I'm incredibly energized by the possibilities. Creating with a pen or stylus, which is way more natural than a mouse. Using voice as the primary way to communicate with our devices. Enabling creativity across every surface, operating system, and web browser. and innovating in emerging disciplines such as screen design, 3D, and augmented reality to enable rich, immersive experiences. Adobe's leadership for nearly 4 decades in creativity, documents, and experiences is unparalleled. Hundreds of millions of people have used our product to create billions of assets. We're harnessing the power of Adobe Sensei, our machine learning and artificial intelligence framework, to help you work faster and smarter. In the future, we believe that AI and ML will shape entirely new categories of creativity, enabling you to uniquely focus on what you do best: create. The full power of technology cannot be realized without great imagination to fuel it. Adobe's community of more than 25 million people on Behance and the millions more around the world inspire us. But what makes me especially proud is that Creative Cloud represents the virtuous cycle of learning and engagement we have with every one of you. And your passion, hard work, and insights drive us to innovate harder and faster every day. Now more than ever, the world needs creativity. In fact, creativity is the connective tissue that's holding us all together. It is creativity and ingenuity that will allow us to emerge stronger. My ask of all of you is to keep creating. Show the world what you can do. Inspire each other. Create change. And together, let's unleash creativity for all. And with that, I'd like to welcome the true host of our show, our Chief Product Officer, Scott Belsky. Scott, over to you.
Thank you, Shantanu. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Adobe Max 2020. This annual gathering of creative minds is different this year, but just as special. While we'll miss the communal experience and seeing friends in person, the new virtual format does have its benefits. Chief among them, we are all together now. Yes, we have opened up Max to the world, and more than 500,000 people registered to join us virtually. No pressure. Over the next 3 days, we've brought together the world's experts in our products to give you a detailed look at the latest features and tips across all segments of digital creativity. Here, from the main stage, we'll kick off with today's keynote, announcing the latest features and new products in Creative Cloud, followed by over 50 hours of live sessions from the most skilled and inspiring creative teachers and esteemed artists in the world. And we will feature interviews and performances from some of your favorite creative artists, including Ava DuVernay, Annie Leibovitz, Zendaya, and more. Of course, we also have a few surprises in store that you will not want to miss. And for the first time ever, all of our breakout sessions will be free and available to everyone, even the super popular ones that usually fill up in minutes. You can find sessions you're going to love and schedule them with just one click in the cards right below me. It's all happening around the clock and around the globe. Okay, we have to talk about 2020. 2020. This year has challenged us from the tragic, personal, and economic toll of the coronavirus to the social reckoning that followed the death of George Floyd. But crisis and stress reveal truths. And one truth this terrible year has made very clear is the resilience of creativity. Not only does creativity survive tough times, creativity is nourished by them. Almost as soon as people around the world were urged to shelter in place, we began to create. From recreating masterpieces at home, to honoring heroes of the pandemic, to stocking up on adult coloring books, we became artists at an unprecedented rate. Whether it was opening Etsy stores, creating TikToks, or sharing more projects per month than ever before on Behance, projects that inspired even more creation from the 1 million people across the globe who visit Behance every day. This collective outpouring of ingenuity and expression amused us, moved us, and helped us make sense of it all. And it said to the virus and all of the madness, you cannot beat us. This year reminded us, creativity doesn't need an expensive canvas or a limitless budget. All it needs is meaning. Just a few minutes or a few square feet of creativity can incite change. Creativity also inspires resilience. It yields novel ways to calm our stress, express our beliefs, and connect with others, even when we can't leave our homes. This year has shown us the power in creativity to take action and to inspire others to act. The power of creation to shout our anger, to channel our grief, and to demand change. 2020 challenged us to be better people and push our creativity in ways we never expected. And the world, all of us, answered that challenge. From our vantage point at Adobe, it has been so gratifying to see so many people, well beyond the community of creative professionals, try new tools and take new risks in creative expression. And many of you are here for your very first Macs. Welcome. Welcome to a worldwide creative community that's accepting, supportive, and committed to honing our craft and telling our stories. Let me assure you, if you are new to the creative world, you've come to the right place. While Creative Cloud is known for powerful tools like Photoshop and Illustrator that can have a bit of a learning curve, our mission is to enable creativity for all, and we build tools for everyone. We've taken some of the greatest features and technologies from our flagship products to power a set of fun and easy-to-use mobile apps, Photoshop Express, Photoshop Camera, and Spark, that help your photo and video creations stand out. Let's take a quick minute to see these apps that millions of people are using to tell their stories on their own terms in their own style. Okay, that's Photoshop Express, Photoshop Camera, and Spark Post, all free and available in the Apple App Store or Google Play. So, throughout all this year's challenges and changes, our team has spent a lot of time with Creative Cloud members, including many of you, over many, many Zooms, to better understand the new ways you're working. Obviously, we're all going through a lot of challenges, and we at Adobe are committed to helping you meet them. There are 3 goals that really drove our focus this year. 1, helping you level up your skills. 2, accelerating collaboration. And 3, unleashing new forms of creation. Let's take a look at each one. Creative education is changing. Everyone, regardless of skill level, is recognizing the necessity of leveling up their creative skills. To be an expert, you have to remain a student. And the best way to learn is by looking over the shoulder of an artist you respect. Without a doubt, the age of apprenticeship is back. So we're releasing new live streaming technologies that make it so much easier to learn from one another. And we're adding resources that help you learn new techniques within Creative Cloud itself. We're excited to show you more ways to level up starting today. The second goal for today's updates is to accelerate collaboration. I like to say that creativity is the world's greatest recycling program, and that's never been truer than today. We're in the remix generation. We get energy from working together and building on each other's work. One person's Photoshop document is the starting point for another's masterpiece. Especially in this era of remote work, we need to make the clunky mechanics of collaboration disappear. We're excited to show you how Creative Cloud is doing just that. And finally, we're all being asked to accomplish more, faster, with less, and for modern mediums. To keep up, we need to unleash new forms of creation, like 3D and immersive. We need artificial intelligence to do the mundane and repetitive tasks for us. We need some modern magic to craft entirely new types of experiences. The pandemic has forced all of us to be more resourceful and flexible. And when you're forced to find a new way, you often find a better way. We're all so excited to share some new products some jaw-dropping new features powered by Adobe Sensei, our artificial intelligence engine, and so many other improvements to the creative world at work. We'll kick off with one of today's most exciting launches. 33 years ago, Adobe Illustrator changed forever the way artists, designers, typographers, and even billboard makers did their work. As digital art has transcended the desktop and become more mobile and collaborative, so must the products we use to create. So we're transforming our flagship applications, extending them to new platforms, and making it easier to create and share. We did that last year with the debut of Photoshop on the iPad. And today, we are very proud to launch the most significant advancement to Illustrator since 1987, the launch of Illustrator on the iPad. Illustrator is becoming a system with the ability to work across platforms and to create and share cloud documents. Over the last year, we partnered with the Illustrator community to really co-create this new application with the help of thousands of designers who gave on early versions of the app, and some who even joined us for in-depth product sessions. We've created a whole new way to work in Illustrator. In fact, some of the new tools and interfaces we've developed over the last year are so much more efficient and intuitive that we've integrated them into Illustrator on the desktop as well. Take it away, Eric Snowden and Jasmine Whitaker.
Great, thanks, Scott. So I'm really excited to share Illustrator on the iPad with all of you today. Now, Illustrator on the iPad is not just for professionals. We've really rethought it from the ground up using the iPad Pro and the Apple Pencil. One of my favorite features is the pencil here in Illustrator. Now, the pencil allows me to draw on the screen using sort of imprecise gestures to make really beautiful lines. So if I draw on my screen, you'll notice it's creating a beautiful vector here with just a handful of points. I can lift up my pencil, I can put it back down and continue drawing, but it allows me to get started in a really natural way and create vectors really quickly. Now, under the hood, if I decide I don't like part of this, I can double tap, go into direct selection mode, and I have access to all of the underlying handles. So I have a ton of control here, just like I would on the desktop. I can place this exactly in the right place in my layer stack, change the background, and it looks pretty good to me. And this is just one example of how we've made it easier to get started in Illustrator on the iPad. Next, I want to talk about precision vector work, because at its heart, Illustrator is a precision tool. Now, I'm working on this logo. You'll notice there are a couple of problems here. If I zoom in on this curve, you'll notice there's a little bit of a hitch in it. It's not fully smooth. And at the end of the M, it's really truncated and flat. I just don't like the way that looks. So if I double tap and select these points, my most common actions show up right here under my drawing. I can turn those into curves. If I want to edit these points, I can actually tap on the handles and delete them, which is a really nice new feature. I've got snapping of handles, so I can snap to exact degrees. I can even multi-select handles and manipulate them at the same time. Just a ton of precision controls here on the iPad. Now, for this curve that isn't quite smooth, I can select the point and use our new Smart Delete function that will delete that point without transforming the curve. It looks really beautiful. I can also move this point along a curve using my touch modifier. So exact positioning of points without distorting my curves. And finally, if I select all of the points, if I go into Simplify Path, I'll just remove any extraneous points that I don't need. And these are just some of the precision features we have here in Illustrator on the iPad. The last thing I want to talk about is combining multiple shapes together, which is something I do all the time in Illustrator. If I select these three shapes and I go into my Pathfinder, you'll notice for the first time we have live previews in Pathfinder. So I never have to guess what minus front does or what intersect does. I just see the preview and tap on it. I can tap to undo at any point and get exactly the results I want. Now, if I'm looking to do some more complex shapes, I can select all of these on canvas and go into my Pathfinder menu again. But this time I'm going to go into Shape Builder. And so Shape Builder allows me to create shapes just by tapping to delete parts of the shape that I don't want. Now, if I want to combine shapes, I can just draw lines between the existing shapes. And very quickly, I can create a logo out of these existing paths. You might also notice I've got some type on canvas. While I don't have time to show that today, Illustrator on the iPad is the best type experience on the iPad. We have access to over 18,000 Adobe fonts. You can upload your own fonts that will sync across mobile and desktop. a ton of power here on the iPad. So these are just a few of the features the team is focused on in bringing Illustrator to the iPad. These are amazing for pros, but easy enough for anyone to use. And now I'm going to pass it off to Jasmine to show you some of her favorite features.
Thanks, Eric. So let's keep this iPad party going. I'm going to show you Grid Repeat. Now, Grid Repeat turns any basic shape into a grid pattern. I love using this because before, this process could be a lot of duplicating and spacing, could get pretty tedious. But now all we have to do is use Grid Repeat. So you can see I have this grid, it's perfect, it's ready to go. And that's not it. I can literally go in and get this exactly where I want it, did that in a second. And now I can focus on making this my own. So in the properties, there's the grid type menu, and there's a ton of different arrangements here that I can get. And I'm liking this. I'm gonna play around with the row and the column, get this exactly where I want it. Towards the end, I might wanna make a change. All I have to do is use my Apple Pencil to double tap. So I've double tapped here, everything is staying in place, and that one tiny motion that I made is now reflected within the entire pattern. Pattern design, easy and simple, that is Grid Repeat. Next up is a really cool feature called Radial Repeat. Now, Radial Repeat rotates and repeats patterns into a circle. Kind of sounds complicated, but I'm going to show you how easy it is now. So I have these 3 circles, and I'm going to use this to create hair for an illustration. And we can do this the old-fashioned way, duplicate, rotate. We don't want to do that because we're just going to use Radial Repeat, and it's going to do the job for us. So now I have this really cool radial design, and there's so much power with this. I'm using my Apple Pencil here, and all of the formations are endless. You can literally swivel this around and come up with any possibility. So I've got it where I want it. Any last minute change, again, go in that isolation mode and you can make a quick edit and it doesn't change the shape of your radial. Now, we haven't only been doing work on Illustrator on the iPad. We've been doing a ton of work on desktop as well, making Illustrator a complete system. So I'm really excited to show you an existing feature that's been reimagined and redesigned, and that is recolor artwork. Recolor artwork has been the easiest way for you to explore with color variations. Now, in the new recolor panel, you can see all of my colors from my illustration are here below, and I can go into this color picker and just start making changes instantly. There's also the color library, and the color library has all of the preset harmonic color themes that you're used to, and you can go in and start making changes instantly based off of these themes. So I like the flower theme, we're gonna stick with that. But I think my favorite aspect of the new recolor panel is the ability to use inspiration swatches. So inspiration swatches allows me to extract color themes from vectors and images and photography and to completely recolor my design. This time I'm going to use the color theme picker and I'm going to go ahead and start exploring with some of these references. So I'll click this image, the vector, and you can see that it's extracting all of those colors and recoloring my design. Now I can get it closer to the original reference and play around with the hue and the brightness, really spice this up a bit. But my favorite little nugget here is the ability to just select the colors that I want here. So once I hold down, I get this little lasso tool. I'm just going to select the 3 colors out of this image, and it's recolored the entire image based off of that selection. So that is recolor artwork, and there's a ton of amazing features on Illustrator on iPad and desktop, and I can't wait for you to try them all in the Max sessions.
Thank you, Jasmine and Eric. This is just the start for Illustrator on the iPad, but it's really exciting to see the reactions from veteran Illustrator users who provided early input. People love the freedom, the efficiency, the transformative interface for illustration and logo creation and more. Illustrator on the iPad is available today. Give it a try. You're going to love it.
That's what it seems.
I'm not really sure if it's real, but I just got to say I found my way. The forest got some magical feel, yeah.
Scott, you've been doing all the heavy lifting, so how about I just help out by answering some live questions from Max attendees. I believe our first question comes from Roberta Eloff in Brooklyn, New York. Hey, Roberta.
Hi, Conan. Thank you so much for taking my question.
No problem, Roberta.
Okay, so I created an Illustrator file that needs to be printed using CMYK processing, and I had to add a color spot for the Pantone solid coated color book, and I'm worried about it being printed accurately. So should I double click the CMYK coded swatch and in swatch options change the color mode from book color to lab, or choose spot colors from the swatches panel menu and select use CMYK colors from the manufacturer's process book?
Wow. Great question, Roberta. I'm happy to say that will be answered next year at Adobe Max 2021 by Ashton Kutcher. Glad I could help. That's enough questions for now. Back to you, Scott.
Thanks. Okay. I talked earlier about how we're accelerating collaboration. One of the foundations of collaboration in Creative Cloud is Creative Cloud libraries, which allow you to organize and access all of your ingredient assets across any app on any device and share them with your entire team. For a quick overview of the newest features and libraries and some of the other collaborative superpowers of Creative Cloud, I'll turn you over to my colleague, Stephanie Auchen.
Hi, I'm Stephanie from the Creative Cloud team for collaboration. Creative Cloud libraries are at the center of creative systems. So today, I'm excited to share with you the latest updates to libraries and cloud documents. First, let's talk about libraries. Libraries centrally store creative ingredients and make them available across your applications. In addition to graphics and colors, libraries now support audio, video, 3D materials and light, and Spark templates. Also new this year are team libraries, which enable teams and organizations to easily manage and share libraries. To complement libraries, next are cloud documents. Cloud documents are your creations in the cloud. Seamlessly move across applications on the desktop, tablet, and phone without missing a beat. Now supported in Illustrator on the desktop and iPad. With this release, you can also share and comment with anyone on cloud documents. And bringing it all together, you can manage and share both libraries and cloud documents from the Creative Cloud app, your hub for creativity, available on desktop and mobile. So join us in our breakout sessions on libraries and collaboration to see all the amazing ways you can create and collaborate with libraries and cloud documents.
Thanks, Stephanie. Another great thing about libraries, they extend beyond Creative Cloud as well. You can access your assets in tools like Google Workspace, Visual Studio Code, and Microsoft Teams, and soon in other services like Mural and Frontify. We're excited about how libraries are accelerating work across products and teams. Creativity isn't a single-player game anymore. It is multiplayer. When we talk to customers, especially those of you at big companies, you share your need to unite many creative teams, video, product design, marketing, social media, and more. All of these teams create for different mediums. They use different apps, but they're ultimately working on the same projects and on the same tight deadlines. So we're working hard to turn Creative Cloud into your creative system, a creative system that brings all of these teams together and enables seamless collaboration. To understand what this means, let's look at a quick example. You've got a new campaign that launches in a week, running everywhere. For inspiration, your whole team curates a set of colors, fonts, and images, perhaps from a Behance mood board. You put together a Creative Cloud team library, and everybody starts collecting the assets you'll need: icons, graphics, brushes, components. A day later, the brand team tweaks one of the logos, as they do, but that's okay, because everyone gets the new asset updated automatically in their library and in any document where they used that asset. Talk about a sanity saver. Okay, you've wrapped up a document in Illustrator, but you want input from others. So you invite them to review and leave feedback. And soon you'll be able to invite designers and copywriters to edit right in your document as well. Once you're happy with what you've created, you share the cloud document with your colleagues and partner agencies so they can use your work to build other parts of the project. All right, The core assets are done, but every successful campaign needs great social media. And the social media team aren't creative professionals. No problem. We've integrated libraries into Spark so that the marketing team can create awesome social posts that include all the same assets. If you take a step back, it's pretty cool and a big sigh of relief. Everything is now connected, from your apps and documents to every type of asset you'll ever need across all of the people you work with. That is the power of a creative system at work. Over the coming months, you'll see more features for team and enterprise collaboration and more innovation when it comes to creativity on the web, so stay tuned. Okay, let's talk about Photoshop. It's probably the most used creative app in the world. We are in constant awe of the ingenious and beautiful things you create, and that motivates us to continuously innovate and roll out new features. Over the past year, the team has shipped updates monthly, including dozens of new features, resources, and improvements to the entire Photoshop system across desktop and on the iPad. And today, we have some pretty amazing new features to show you. But before we get to the demo, I mentioned we've been spending time checking in with many of you to see how your creativity helped you get through this insane year. So let's first hear from some of you, and then our very own Terry White will join us to show what's new in Photoshop.
High point during Corona.
Ooh, that's a question. Hey, oh no, she's gonna growl.
I mean, the best moments of this pandemic, which is a very strange, weird thing to say, but it is coming up with this artistic style that makes me feel happy.
I mean, I guess the high point is kind of having to completely alter how I make things again. I have terabytes of photos that I haven't utilized, and for some reason, when I first shoot them, I'm really weird about it. Now I'm like, ooh, actually, come on back to the party.
I did a poster called Black Boy Fly, and so it was just the idea of liberation, freedom, joy, and just having fun. We were able to actually donate the proceeds from that, almost $5,000 to the NAACP Legal Defense Fund.
Cuando suceden cosas como lo del logo de AdobeMax, ahí yo vi que mi trabajo que yo vengo realizando no es algo simplemente una pasión personal mía, sino que más gente también lo aprecia.
My niece made her own masks. I helped her, and she started her own Society 6 store. She's 9.
It's jazz, you know, you just start and things start to happen and you start to bring things in from previous ideas.
Every day I did like a 4-panel comic, like how I feel today. And that really helped me to cope a bit.
オンラインでどことでもつながれるので、応援し合ったり一緒に何かすることによって乗り越えていけたらいいんじゃないかと思います。
And like the best mask of all time. Look at this mask.
My friends were saying, this is you when we're finally seeing it, and that's pretty cool.
I'm really excited to be here to show you not only my favorite new features in Photoshop on the desktop, but also my favorite new features in Photoshop on iPad. As a matter of fact, let's go ahead and start on iPad. I've got Photoshop here. I'm just going to go ahead and launch it. As you can see, I've got a scene that's almost ready to go, but we're missing our hero image. Let's go ahead and dive into the lion layer group here. I'm going to go ahead and turn the lion layer on. Now that I got the lion layer on, we need to cut it out from the background. So that brings up my first favorite new set of features, which is actually the Adobe Sensei powered Select Subject and Object Selection tool. Now, I use those to cut out the elephant and the rhino, and they work great. One click, selects the subject, hit mask, and you're done. However, in this case, we've got a subject with fur or hair. So what I'm going to do is just go into Refine Edge. I'm just going to go ahead and turn on a little smart radius and increase my edge detection. We can already start to see the edges come through. But we're going to use the Apple Pencil and the Refine Edge brush, and we're just going to come in, and like magic, Photoshop starts to reveal what those edges should look like. So I can just go ahead and just work my way around the lion, and it does an amazing job when I do that. I want to just adjust that edge just a little bit on the right, and for that, because we have a mask, I'm going to use my brush. I'm just going to go ahead and start brushing that edge just at the top here to get it just right around that top edge, and it's great. Speaking of brushing, you can rotate your canvas to get the exact angle that you want to brush at. Now that I got the lion nicely cut out, we're gonna go ahead and switch back to the lion layer, and we're gonna do my next new favorite feature, which is a curves adjustment. So I can add a clipped adjustment, choose curves, and I get the same professional curves levels that I have on desktop. So I can brighten up those shadows, decrease the midtones a little bit, and just really create that highly contrasted image that matches the rest of my scene. Now that I've got that done, I can go ahead and turn back on my text layer. And my text layer is now turned on and looks the way I want it to look. And as soon as I close this document, it will save and be synced to my cloud documents so I can open it in Photoshop on the desktop. Speaking of Photoshop on the desktop, let's head there next. You might have saw in Jasmine's demo in Illustrator where she was using the new repeat pattern to create patterns. And now we have it with the brand new View Pattern Preview. I see what my pattern is going to look like already as I scale these two geometric shapes. It scales them proportionally, and I see it in real time. Now I'm going to go ahead and duplicate that by holding down my Option key on the Mac or Alt key on Windows. And as I duplicate this down, I see that it's showing me the pattern that I would get, but I don't want just stripes. So what I'm going to do is just free transform, right click, and flip it horizontally to create the pattern that I had in my mind, and I can now visualize it. And as you can see, even as I scale out, the pattern is infinitely scalable and can fill any scene. So that's Pattern Preview in Photoshop. Now it's time for my favorite feature of the day, and that is, as a photographer, we go out on location and the sky doesn't always cooperate. So luckily, in Photoshop, we now have sky replacement. So when I go up to my edit menu and choose sky replacement, it can either use the skies that come with Photoshop, or you can import your own. So here's a nice cloud sky that I brought in. I'm just going to go ahead and move it around to show that it's not static. And now that I've got this sky in place, let's really examine what's going on here. Not only did it have to replace the background, which was the sky, but it also had to mask the suspension ropes on the bridge to get them to look just right, and the trees down at the foreground. More importantly, what if I change the time of day? What if I go in and choose a sunrise or sunset scene? And when I do that, it not only replaces the sky, but it also has to figure out how to darken the foreground and color balance the foreground to match the sky. And it does that all in one click. So as soon as I click OK, I've not only got a great sky replacement, but it left me with all the layers and the mask so I can go in and work more on it if I need to adjust that mask. And those are just a few of my favorite features across both Photoshop on the desktop and Photoshop on the iPad. Thanks, everyone. Back to you, Scott.
Thanks, Terry. The Photoshop team is super excited about the new sky replacement feature and improvements to tools like Object Select and Refine Edge that make Photoshop on the iPad so much better. And all of that is on top of performance improvements that make Photoshop faster. Also, you'll be pleased to hear that we've upgraded extensibility for Photoshop and launched a new plugin marketplace right in Creative Cloud Desktop. There you will find Photoshop integrations not just from your old favorites like Pro Add-ons or Pixel Squid, but new tools like Slack, Google Drive, Trello, and Dropbox. But that's not all. We have one more amazing piece of brand new Photoshop magic launching today. As you know, some of the most popular features in Photoshop are the dozens of filters that help you transform your images. These classic filters set the standard for the industry and inspired many of the social media apps that we use today. Well, we're taking filter technology to the next level. We call them neural filters. They're powered by Adobe Sensei and based on years of research. With neural filters, you can achieve results with just a few clicks that are frankly hard to believe. Let's take a look.
Sinners, traders, sunset saviors, all the time. Oh, that's fine. Mainstream makers, movers, shakers, on the side. Oh, it's fine. You know what you wanted. We know it's time. You know, I know you want. So, nothing is done on the other. Nothing is wrong on the other. Nothing is gone to the other side. Nothing is lost on the other. Nothing forgot on the other. Nothing is gone to the other side. Gone, gone, gone to the other side.
Neural filters are live today in the latest version of Photoshop. Being powered by artificial intelligence, they get continuously better and smarter as we use them. And because they're designed as an open platform, starting next year, you'll be able to use the same intelligence to create neural filters of your own. You can learn more later today in Terry's session, but download the latest version of Photoshop and play with them. There are a lot of surprises in there. So that is neural filters. Now, occasionally at live events, we do a quick demo with actual audience members. Any volunteers? Conan?
You know, I'd rather not.
Great, come on up. We got a hold of a profile image that looks more recent.
Yes, that is COVID Conan with the longer hair and the eyes that have died.
So, let's see if we can work some magic with Photoshop here. So we've got neural filters open in smart portrait mode, and one of the first sliders here is happiness. And so let's crank that baby up here. You can see.
Oh, wow. Wow, that is a level of happiness I've never achieved in my entire life, and I have 2 children I love, happily married, never felt that happy.
Okay.
That's crazy.
Sliders work both ways, and sometimes you do want to dull an expression a little bit. So here's an extreme example of...
Ah, yes. Conan in high school, college, the 90s and early 2000s. That's the guy I know. That's the Conan I know.
Well, we'll then leave you at the happier state before we go on to the next demo here. Now, another thing that a lot of Photoshop customers spend time with is retouching, and adjusting hair takes a ton of time. Neural filters makes it a lot easier. Here we have actually hair thickness as an example. I'll crank that baby down. You can see what it looks like.
Ah, the thinning hair. A possible future for me. We don't know. We don't know.
I'm happy to bring it the other way. I think that's maybe more your jam. This is Max hair.
I look like I'm in a Belgian funk group. I like that. It's got an Osmond family vibe. I like it.
Fair enough. So we'll leave it there. Last quick demo here is of the facial age slider.
Ooh, young Conan, otherwise known as Katie Couric in 1988. Look at that. Pledging a sorority. Hi, everybody. Good to see ya.
So, I'll just show you the opposite here. So
this is how
age,
I'm going to age.
Yeah, we'll go extreme here.
Oh, wow. How did this neural filter know that I didn't take care of my teeth?
Artificial intelligence at its best.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Anyways,
so that's awful. That's awful, and I need to get out of here and have a drink now.
Neural filters. Thank you.
No, I need a drink.
Behold the power. Anyways, neural filters available today in Photoshop. Powered by AI, neural filters get continuously better and smarter as we use them. Now, of course, we know that virtually any digital creative tool can be misused by people who are trying to deceive or mislead. And that's why a year ago, with Twitter and the New York Times, we launched the Content Authenticity Initiative. The goals of this initiative are twofold: to provide information about how a piece of content has been changed so that people can judge for themselves whether to trust it, and to ensure that creative artists get credit for the work that they do. Here's a quick overview of the Content Authenticity Initiative.
The internet is our great connector. But misinformation threatens to split us apart. So we're building a new digital standard to help. When a photojournalist captures an image, they can choose to preserve its key facts, like who shot it, where they were, and when it happened. Then, when the image appears on screens all around the world, its history moves with it. And if anything was changed along the way, everyone can see. We're starting with images, but the standard will embrace all content. It's an ambitious initiative, but our goal is simple. Less misunderstanding, more trust. Fewer divisions, more bridges. Instead of the internet becoming a place of doubt and uncertainty, we can help keep it a place built on strong connections, where great ideas can thrive, where we can all move forward together.
Working with our partners over the last year, we've made a lot of progress on the technology that will drive the Content Authenticity Initiative. Soon, we're releasing that technology as a private beta within Photoshop, and any attribution data that people add to their images will be viewable by everyone on Behance and through content-authenticity.org. We know that the spread of misinformation is a big issue that will require action on many fronts. No one approach will solve this problem entirely. But with our partners, we are committed to creating a platform that will help everyone make better decisions about what content to trust.
Wait, you can tell when a photo's been faked? Yeah, I should just quickly come clean. I posted an altered photo of me at the beach. I think we have it. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, that's my body. I just adjusted the waves behind me. You know, just more rolling action. But it's my body. That is totally, that's all me. In fact, I slimmed it down a bit. It's a little too big.
Hence the need for the Content Authenticity Initiative. Okay, let's talk about photography and the power of photography to capture a moment, to tell a story, to change minds, to inspire generations. Nothing is more immediate and authentic than a photograph. When you see something beautiful, strange, or compelling, you want to capture it, make it look great in your own unique way, and then share it. Anyone can take a picture, but the art of knowing what to photograph and how, and the craft of making that photograph great remains an aspiration. Whether it's editing, organizing, or sharing their images, millions of photographers have come to rely on Lightroom across their phone, tablet, desktop, and browser to help them tell their stories and become better photographers. Brian O'Neill Hughes is going to show you how the latest version of Lightroom does just that. But first, let's take a look at how a few photographers are using their work to connect with their community and bring hope.
All right, I'm gonna record now. Boop.
Is this good? Like this? Again, like this? Yes.
Feels like a weird science fiction movie or something like that, you know?
I think the hardest thing during lockdown was not being able to see my parents.
Definitely a roller coaster of emotions.
Anxiety. It's rough, dude. I got sick week 1. Like, shut down week 1. I was sick.
Sometimes you're not aware of your lifestyle until something interrupts it.
And then I finally started to create work.
I do things despite feeling disempowered. To do nothing is to lose out on serendipity.
I just had to find a way to redirect the negative energy that I had to become positive.
It's during times like this that we need to have a sense of humor more than ever.
Just keep creating. That makes me feel better. I want to push my creativity and practice my consistency by creating a photo every day for 100 days.
The first thought that came to mind was the kids across the Navajo reservation. 30 to 40% of the kids or more don't even have electricity, which means they don't have the internet or Wi-Fi or light. And so we shifted our focus to helping these kids have distance learning ability to connect with their school and their teachers.
I think what has pushed me to embrace is just to have as big of a heart as possible.
I was able to take a deep breath and look at my work and look at myself.
I've seen art that has touched people, made people come to tears during this pandemic. It's really moved people. It's given them hope, even.
You know, it's like my grandma, you know, true grit. She's like, you can either take it down or get taken down.
Thank you, Scott. All right, let's talk about photography. Lightroom is a complete photography system. It runs across platforms: iOS, Android, Mac, Windows, even the web. And this system is designed to be powerful enough for professional photographers and yet easy enough for absolutely anyone to use. And today we're going to take a look at this system on two platforms, the iPad Pro and the Android phone. So let's just jump right in with this very colorful image here. Now, it's never been faster or easier to dramatically change the look of our images in Lightroom. The combination of powerful editing tools, Adobe Sensei, and our beautiful creative profiles mean that you can dramatically change the look of things very quickly and easily. But what if I want multiple color adjustments? What if I want black and white and color? Well, that's where a new feature called versions comes in. Versions allow us to have multiple treatments of our file traveling with the edits themselves. So I can move between all different color treatments, or in this case, I really like the black and white. Let's go ahead and apply that. This is much more elegant than virtual copies, which are really just redundant files. Versions travel with our files and with our edits. Okay, that was versions. Let's talk about a cool feature called local hue. Now, one of the things that I love about Lightroom is that I can come into my color mixer and I can simply tap on the image to adjust the hue. It's a magical way to change color. There's two problems with this. One, I'm limited to the gamut of the color that I'm touching. The other, I'm going to affect that same color elsewhere in the image. So we're going to come in here to our selective edits, and since I'm on the iPad Pro, I'm going to use Apple Pencil, and I'm simply going to paint in the area that I want to adjust. Now, as I come into color, I see that I have access to all of my colors. And so I can change that dramatically and selectively. That's local hue. All right, let's look at a more challenging example. This is an HDR image, and that means that it was built from 3 different exposures: really bright highlights, really dark shadows, and what the meter said right in between. So for the first step, I'm going to let Sensei take care of that and adjust the tonality of it. It looks much better. But if I go to adjust the color, we're going to see that this is going to make some parts look better and other parts look worse. I need to adjust the color in tones, and this is where color grading comes in. With color grading, I can move between the shadows, the midtones, and the highlights, and I can adjust the exact color value within each. So let's start with the shadows, and this is the forest floor here. I'm going to make that sort of a bluish green and darker. Next, we're going to come to the midtones, where I'm not going to change the color, but I am going to change the luminance. I'm going to make that fog pop by making it just a little bit darker. Last, the highlights. This is the area where the sun is rising in the upper right, and I want that to be a nice warm tone and a little bit darker. So let's take a look at that before, sort of soft and muddy, and after, really nicely balanced, beautiful, and colorful. There's never been a more precise or powerful way to edit color than color grading in Lightroom. Okay, before we leave the iPad here, let's talk about workflow for a minute. One of the things that I love in Lightroom is that I can now directly import images on the iPad. So I can pull them straight into Lightroom, and that means that these Leica Q2 files here, these 47 megapixel files, they come straight in. I didn't have to copy them into the camera roll first. Now, as you can see, they're not edited, but I have edited one of the images. In fact, if I touch and hold, we'll see that I've done quite a bit of work here. Now, rather than replicate all that work, I just want to pick it out of that file and share it with the others. That's called batch processing, and that's exactly what we're going to do here. Simply touch and hold on the image that we want to copy from, copy those settings, select all of those other huge 47 megapixel images, and hit paste. And in a couple of seconds, all of those images are going to look the same. If I'm a working photographer shooting a large volume of images, sports, weddings, portraits, this is going to save me hours, maybe even days of work. This is a huge deal for workflow. That's just a little bit of what we're doing on the iPad. But the truth is, we don't all have our iPads with us all the time. We don't have our desktops or our laptops with us all the time. But we always have our phones with us. So let's take a quick look at this system
on the Android phone. And the first thing I want to stress here is that this is full Lightroom. This is the full power of the system in the palm of your hand. And what that means is that your edits are consistent with what we just did on the other device. And if I come in and I choose my versions, I can adjust those as well. If I come into a powerful feature such as color grading, I can adjust that. In fact, on a black and white image like this, I like to use a global color grading adjustment for sepia tone. This is a really powerful way to do a sepia tone. But I can do really powerful edits here as well. Let's take this image here, which is a 24 megapixel image off of the original Leica Q, a full raw file, a very large raw file. First thing we're going to do is just hit auto, and Sensei is going to do its work there, make the image look much better. I'm going to open up the shadows a bit, and now we're going to push it a little bit and do a selective edit of this image. I'm going to come into my selective tools, choose the radial tool, stretch that out, invert it, add a little bit of clarity or mid-tone contrast, and some dehaze to cut through the atmospheric haze of that. And let's look at that before and after. That's selective raw editing on a full resolution file right here on my phone. Okay, now let's talk about how to learn Lightroom. There's some fantastic resources for learning more about Lightroom. If I come to the Learn tab here, I see that I have curated content. I have all sorts of content that I can browse based on the type of user I am. This is some of the best content from some of the very best professional photographers and authors in the community. And I chose one for us here on a foggy morning recovery, very similar to what we did on the iPad. And as I start this tutorial, Lightroom explains the problem we're going to solve, loads the image, and this is where things get different. I'm actually driving Lightroom. So I'm interacting with the interface, learning not just how to solve the problem, but how Lightroom works. These are incredibly powerful. There are hundreds in here, and we're constantly adding to them. It's a great way to learn how Lightroom works. You can see that this entire system has never been more powerful, more precise, more flexible, easier to learn, or easier to use. Thank you very much.
This update to Lightroom gives you a new level of precision editing, especially when it comes to color. And with versions, you can experiment with lots of different approaches and never have to worry about losing that image you love. I'm also excited about the new ways Lightroom connects the photography community to learn from one another, sharing presets, and ultimately elevating the craft for all. Be sure to check out the new Discover tab in Lightroom, and I hope you consider sharing some of your favorite images as well. All right, moving on. Okay, a quick confession. I am not a particularly skilled painter, not at all, but I still love Adobe Fresco, our digital painting and drawing app. When I'm mocking up a quick concept, I pick up Fresco because it serves as this kind of natural medium to capture and express whatever I'm thinking. Over the last year, with so many updates and additions, Fresco has become the ultimate companion for those who paint or draw for profession or for passion. With its groundbreaking watercolor and oil brush technology, the algorithms that work to emulate natural bleed, and its full interoperability with Photoshop, there's just nothing like it. Kyle Webster and Jin Sun join us now to show what's new in Fresco. But first, let's hear from a few more artists around the world about how they're using their art to make sense of this wild year.
I have not left the house. One time I stepped out of the gate and sort of onto the sidewalk, and that's it.
I could feel that the whole world was like trying to figure out what is happening. When you go to the street, there is no one, like no one is in the park.
Oh God, the kid coming in going, "What are you doing, Mom? What are you doing, Mama? Mama, Mama?" Oh,
I got very emotional, especially the Black Lives Matter thing happened.
When something like George Floyd happened, I think it was just like the final straw. I felt like for like a couple of days I couldn't work. Like I just couldn't concentrate.
I kept a little silent at first because what could I say without getting my emotions all tangled up in this stuff?
A lot of the work now that I'm constantly adding in people of color as like the protagonist of my stories, quote unquote, just in terms of showing more representation.
I did this Black Lives Matter illustration for Adobe. Fist can be looked at as a weapon, but when you're raising that fist up to show solidarity, it means a lot.
When the scientific papers come in and say that mask is our best defense, that motivated me even more to draw something.
Although there is value in educating, I felt like my talents were better spent helping people reimagine what our reality could look like. I'm drawing these women, just putting them in areas that would make them feel safe and make them feel at home.
Imagine any of the recent movements without any artist expression. We needed to give voices to these movements.
My English is not like perfect, but through art, I can tell my feelings.
To be creative is very cool, and you get to imagine things, you get to be somewhere else, you get to create your own bubble.
It's my salvation, it's my solace, my place of comfort.
Hi, I'm Kyle Webster.
And I'm Jinjin Sun.
Jinjin and I are here today to show you Adobe's dedicated drawing and painting app, Fresco. Each of us are going to share with you a few of our favorite features, and I'm going to kick it off with the new charcoal brushes in Fresco. Charcoals were the #1 medium that people wanted us to add to the app, and I'm so glad that they are now here. I've got a charcoal pencil here. I'm just going to make a few nice marks, and I want you to see how perfect that texture is. Looks just like the real deal. But I can also use this pencil to do shading like this, from dark all the way to really faint. I can make big chunky marks like this as well. But that's only one tool. We have 7 charcoals in all for you, ranging from a nice buttery vine charcoal that looks like that to a really gritty one as well, and everything in between. But let's take a look at a real drawing so we can really see how much better this looks. Here's a character I'm working on, a little skater kid. And I'm going to use the charcoal pencil to do a bit of work to round this out. Just come up here on the top of the eye and add a little bit of detail, iris there. And now let's put some shading under the jaw. And are you ready for this, folks? I'm going to smudge that. Perfecto. Look at that. We now have smudging in Fresco, which means you can use any pixel brush to smudge and all the texture is going to be retained. Let me show you what I mean. I'm going to draw here with that charcoal pencil again, and I'll even just use my finger to do some smudging right now. Check that out. This is exactly how I draw with real charcoal. All the texture is retained. This looks amazing. Okay, but since we're in a digital painting environment, we don't have to restrict ourselves to just black and white for the charcoal. Take a look at this colored pencil drawing here of this character. All of this was done with that charcoal brush as well. So I can use millions of colors with it to make perfect colored pencils just like this. So now I'm going to just add a little bit of color here to the trousers, and that looks fantastic. All right, why don't we move on to the multicolor eyedropper tool. The multicolor eyedropper is a revolutionary new tool we have in Fresco that allows you to put multiple colors on your brush anytime you want. If I hold down the touch modifier and then touch anywhere else on the canvas, I'm able to select all those colors at once. They magically jump onto my brush, and not just any brush, but I'm now painting with the watercolor. So watch all that beautiful color blend together and flow together, just like real watercolors. These are those famous Fresco watercolors you love. And I can now paint with them using multiple colors at the same time. But there's something else you can do with multicolors that's really cool as well. I have this monkey that's hanging out in the jungle here. He doesn't have anything to swing from. But with multicolor, what I can do is just hide that monkey for a second, hold down the touch modifier, and then grab this leaf that I painted. Now I'm going to bring that monkey back. And now when I paint, I have vines for him to swing from, just like that. So I created a temporary custom brush for this document and gave our monkey something to swing from. It took me a matter of seconds to do that. So the multicolor eyedropper is really a game changer for everybody. Now I want to throw it over to Jinjin for some of her favorite features. Jinjin, over to you.
Thanks so much, Kyle. I'm so excited to share my favorite features on Fresco. First up, I want to talk about capture shapes. So these are custom shapes that you can stamp into a document. So I'm going to open my shapes panel here, and you'll see that I have all of these flowers that I created earlier in Adobe Capture that are now available for me to use in my library. So all I have to do is put this in place and hit fill to stamp it. It's that easy. From here, it's also really simple to make this smaller, put in different locations, just like that. So that's flat color, which is really useful, but that's not all I can do with this. So I'm actually going to turn this into a large background element. And instead of using flat color, I'm going to turn this into a mask. So now that I've done that, it's really easy to use different colors and different brushes all inside of that same shape. So here I'm taking advantage of the beautiful color blending and bleeding that we get with Fresco's watercolor brushes. So that is Capture Shapes. So many great possibilities for custom shapes in your artwork. Next up is vector trimming. So anything you draw with vector brushes in Fresco stays sharp at all sizes. Vector trimming makes it really easy to cut vector lines where they cross each other. So if I were drawing a stripe on the zebra without vector trimming, and I overshot the line, I'd have to go in, use the eraser tool to very carefully erase this right up to that original line. I'd probably mess that up, have to go fix it. That's not how I want to spend my time today. Instead, I'm going to use vector trimming. So I'm going to zoom back out and just toss some lines in really quickly. So I'm just throwing these in, totally ignoring those boundary lines I was being so careful with earlier. And now I'm going to activate vector trimming using the touch shortcut and just cross out all that overage that I don't want. And just like that, I've got a perfect trim right up to that boundary line. All right, so that is vector trimming. Makes it so easy to clean up your vector line work. So Kyle and I have shared some amazing features so far, but I've got one more thing and I've saved the best for last. Inspiration doesn't always strike when you've got your tools at hand. But what if there was something that you're probably already carrying around with you in your pocket that you could create with? And that's why I'm so excited to share that Fresco is now available on the iPhone. When I open this, you'll see all of my cloud documents that I was just working on my iPad are already syncing across to my phone. And when I open up a document here, you'll see I've got all my tools, all my layers, everything I need to create some beautiful artwork. So I'm going to hop into full screen mode here to finish the sky. Look at that. I'm using watercolor on my phone. And from here to finish it out, I'm just going to add a little bit of sparkle using our sparkle brush. So that is Fresco on the iPhone. It's available in the App Store today. Thank you so much, and back to you, Scott.
Thank you, Jinjin and Kyle. Charcoal brushes, multicolor sampling, vector trimming. Those are just a few of the amazing new features. And Fresco is free to download and use on iPad, Surface Tablet and other Windows devices, Wacom Mobile Studio Pro, and now iPhone. It is also worth noting, Fresco is the only pro-level drawing and painting app that works in the cloud, so you can start a project on your phone and pick up on iPad. And with your work saved to the cloud, you won't lose your masterpiece just because you lose your phone. There's a lot more to learn about Fresco at our illustration and painting sessions over the next 3 days. Now, during that demo, you saw Jinjin use a flower shape from Adobe Capture. Capture is one of Creative Cloud's hidden gems. With Capture on your mobile device, you can capture anything around you as a brush, texture, pattern, set of colors. You can even capture a font from any label or sign you see. All of these elements are saved into Creative Cloud libraries. When I demo Capture to friends, they often ask when this piece of wild wizardry will be launched. Well, it's available for free right now in the Apple App Store and Google Play, so go download Adobe Capture. You will love it. And I have a special surprise. We've never done this before, but today, thanks to our friends at Microsoft, every single person in this theater will get a Microsoft Surface tablet with Fresco pre-installed. Look under your seat. Sorry, Shanu, Adobe employees and families are not eligible.
Psych! Wow, the generosity is stunning.
Okay, so much of what we learn creatively comes from looking over the shoulder of a talented person, seeing what they're doing and how they're doing it. And now anyone can live stream directly from Creative Cloud apps. With live streaming, you learn skills, tricks, and get exposed to entirely new ideas. Given the growing popularity of live streaming, we've wanted to make it easier to go live from within some of our products. Here to tell you more about live streaming and all the great content on Adobe Live is Samantha Dorman.
Hi, I'm Samantha Dorman from the Adobe Live team, and I'm here to share what we've been working on around live streaming. Whether you're looking for a place to learn and be inspired, want to share your creativity, or simply hang out with the community, live streaming on Behance is the place for you. I'm excited to share that beginning today, you can stream from your iPad using Fresco, Photoshop, or Illustrator. Build your own community where you can chat, engage, share your design process in real time, and build a video archive of all of your live streams. Features like the tool timeline automatically capture every brushstroke and transformation, allowing your creative peers to go behind the scenes and follow along with you step by step. Check out live streaming on Behance today. And Adobe has its own channel, Adobe Live, where you can learn, chat, and get inspiration directly from Adobe team members and top creatives from across the globe. Tune into the daily creative challenges to build your skills, expand your design portfolio, and get feedback on your work. Join us any day, anytime around the world to connect and learn with other creatives just like you on Creative Cloud Desktop and at behance.net/live.
Thanks, Sam. Adobe Live has become a new creative community experience unlike any other. I hope you'll all check out live streaming in the Live tab on Behance and consider going live from any of our iPad apps starting today. Okay, let's shift gears to experience design. In our development of Adobe XD, our experience design and prototyping tool, we want to advance the field and unlock new possibilities in how designers work together and with other stakeholders without compromising performance. And the market has responded. Each month, more than 1 million designers are now creating experiences in XD, and more than 3 million stakeholders are reviewing that work in XD. Over the last year, we've made it possible for you to invite a colleague to co-edit a design you're working on just by entering their email address. Design systems have gained new functionality and are now fully connected to Creative Cloud libraries, making it easy to share assets and design components with anyone in your organization. And when it comes to design and prototyping, more and more leading designers are focused on animation, 3D experiences, and building prototypes that engage customers in entirely new ways. Here to show you how Adobe XD is enabling that kind of work is Koi Vin, XD's head of design.
Thanks, Scott. We've been building some terrific stuff on the Adobe XD team, particularly around collaboration. Collaboration for designers, for clients, for developers too. And of course, all of this is built on top of Creative Cloud. So when I design a project like the one I've got here, I can bring in my work from Photoshop or from Illustrator so easily thanks to our effortless integrations with Creative Cloud. Okay, so the first feature I want to show you is called Stacks, and it's going to make it really easy for me to redesign this interface that I've got here. I've got a number of cards, and what I want to do is actually reorder them. I want the smaller cards up top and the bigger cards down below. Now to do that, I just need to move some things off canvas here to the right, and then shift the order of them around. And I do get some smart guides in the interface that XD gives me to make things a little bit easier, but overall, it's just going to be more time-consuming and more tedious than it really should be. So let's actually just Command-Z this a few times. What I'm going to do instead is grab all these cards, and I'm going to turn them into a group. And then in the Property Inspector, I'm going to turn on this new stack control. And that simple change is going to allow me to now grab any of these cards and to rearrange them dynamically. So as I drag this, you'll see the other cards are slipping and sliding in place. This is such a huge time saver instead of having to eyeball everything. So this is a vertical stack. But stacks are so great because they also work horizontally, and it's so easy to readjust your layouts using this new feature. So the next feature I want to talk to you about is called Smart Padding, and it's going to help me design this card interface that I've got over here. So I've got this blue card background with a title on it. I also want to add these images, the buttons, the text. And as I'm moving things onto the blue card, you can already tell it's going to take a lot of finessing in order to get the spacing and the layout exactly right. Well, instead of doing things that manual way, let's use Smart Padding. I just need to turn on this padding feature here on the left side. And what I'm going to do is punch in a value of 40 for the padding. And what's going to happen is that the card is going to readjust itself automatically to accommodate that 40 pixel value. And what's happening is that XD is making sure that regardless of the contents of the card, there's always going to be 40 pixels there. So what's really great about this is I can also add content to the card after the fact. So I've got this block of text here. Now, normally what I would need to do is grab this blue background and actually pull on the card to make it taller, just like this. Let's Command-Z that because Smart Padding makes this much easier. In the Layers panel, all I need to do is grab the text layer and drag it into the group for the card. And just like that, the whole card is grown to accommodate that text. And as I continue to tweak the layout of the card, you'll see that the card continues to grow or shrink accordingly. In fact, if I want to add more text, I know I've got a bit of text hidden here. I can just pull on this bottom edge. You'll see that the whole card grows in height to accommodate. So overall, smart padding is going to save you so much time as you're tweaking and refining these intricate, complex interfaces that designers are tackling every single day. Okay, I had time enough to share with you just one more feature, and this one is really cool. It's called 3D Transforms. And as the name suggests, it's going to let me take the 2D interfaces that XD is so great at helping me design and actually bust them into 3D space. All I need to do is turn on this 3D Transforms control on the right side here, and it reveals this new widget. We call this the gizmo, and this allows you to control the X space, the Y space, even the Z space, and actually put this into a dimensional view. So you can imagine using 3D Transforms to visualize your 2D designs on an image of a hand holding a phone, or in a real world setting where you're trying to design an AR experience, for instance. What's even cooler though is that 3D Transforms lets you prototype these experiences. That means I can design an interface like this one. This is a card flipping interface. And what I've done is transform these cards using 3D Transform, and then I've animated them together as a prototype. So let's take a look at how this works. You can see this stack of cards. I can actually flip through them and pull one of them out, and then even flip it around so we can see the backside of the card, and then turn it around again and drop it right back into that stack. And what's so great about this is that it was so easy for me as a 2D designer to get this done, because the learning curve is so shallow for 3D Transforms. So all of these features are available in the new version of Adobe XD. You should get it today, download it, and start making something amazing right away. Thank you for your time, and back to you, Scott.
Thanks, Coy. As you can see, the newest version of Adobe XD has some incredible new capabilities. But I think XD's greatest superpower may be its integration with Creative Cloud. Experience design is so interconnected with other disciplines. To make a great interface, you need images composited in Photoshop. You need logos from Illustrator. You need the power of After Effects to create sophisticated animations. XD has incredible momentum within the market, in part because it's so connected with all the other applications you need to design great experiences. If you haven't played with Adobe XD lately, you need to check out the latest. And if you're new to experience design or Adobe XD, it is free to download, and we have a lot of sessions over the next 3 days to help you learn more. All right, I don't think any of us would get through the pandemic without video. Whether it's an Instagram story of your niece's first ice cream cone or a new season of something binge-worthy, video has helped keep us connected, inspired, and sane. If you're new to making video, we have Premiere Rush, our all-in-one, easy-to-use video editing tool available on iOS, Android, and desktop. We've added some powerful new features to Rush that make producing a great-looking video even easier. And for video professionals who seem to always have too much to do and not enough time, we've added some new time savers in Premiere Pro and After Effects that take care of the busy work so you have more time to create. Let's turn it over to Jason Levine to hear the latest.
Thanks, Scott. Well, I'm here to share with you some of the latest innovations in Adobe Video, and we're going to start with 2 new features in Adobe Premiere Rush, our cross-platform, cross-device, all-in-one editing app. So recently I was on a trip to Alaska and I shot these images that you see here, and I'd like to share these on social, but rather than share them as a static slideshow, I'd like to give them just a little bit of movement. Well, now you can do this extremely easily with the all-new Sensei-powered pan and zoom. I'm simply going to select all of my images down on the timeline and go up to the new Effects panel and choose Pan and Zoom. And when I do that, Sensei will automatically analyze the images, analyze the region of interest, and automatically create dynamic, beautiful camera movement, really bringing these images to life with a single click. So that's the new Pan and Zoom. Now, like many of you, sometimes I just like sharing funny, silly videos on social. So here we have a video of a dog running in a field, and I thought, so innocent, so fun, guaranteed to probably brighten someone's day. So maybe I want to share this on Instagram or TikTok. Well, obviously this widescreen aspect ratio isn't going to work. Well, Rush makes it super easy to change to a vertical 9:16, just like this. But when I do that, you can see that there's a problem. The dog is no longer in the center of the frame. Well, it isn't a problem any longer with Auto Reframe. Let's go ahead and enable Auto Reframe, and once again, powered by Adobe Sensei, it will analyze the region of interest and automatically place that dog right in the center of the vertical frame, just like that. Now, if I need to make a change to that adjustment, I can click on Adjust Frame. It'll bring up this lightbox view where now I can make those adjustments here, click Apply, it'll reanalyze the clip, and just like that, create a perfectly framed vertical version of our dog running through the field, suitable for social sharing. So those are the new Sensei-powered Auto Reframe and Pan and Zoom features in Premiere Rush. Now, segueing over to Premiere Pro, our professional video editing application, let's take a look at something called Scene Edit Detection. So here we have a clip that's already been finished. It's cut, it's done, and maybe I want to recut this and repurpose for social. Maybe I want to cut it down into a trailer. But as I take a look at this video, I notice that some of the cuts have different color, different contrast, different saturation. And I'd like to kind of even those out. Well, that would involve me going in and manually placing cuts at all the different cut points. Too much time wasted. Well, I don't have to do that anymore. If I simply right-click here, I can choose Scene Edit Detection. And once again, leveraging the power of Adobe Sensei, it will analyze this clip and automatically apply a cut at each detected cut point. You can see that I can easily move between all the cuts here with my arrow keys, and when I find one that needs a bit of tweaking, I can go into the Lumetri Color panel and adjust things like saturation or contrast or vibrance, making it exactly the way that I want. And to finish this off now, I can go into the Essential Sound panel, and perhaps I need some dynamic music. Well, I can dip into Adobe Stock Audio's 37,000 tracks, which I can preview right here in the interface, drag right into the timeline, and keep on working. So that's the awesome new Adobe Stock Audio and Scene Edit Detection. So now I'd like to share with you some of the work we've been doing around captioning in Premiere Pro by giving you a sneak peek of our speech-to-text workflow. Now, when you caption your content, you make it more accessible to a wider audience. More access means more views and more engagement. But creating captions has traditionally required a lot of effort and time. With speech-to-text, we've made it easy. So here we have a video in the timeline. Let's go ahead and take a look and listen, and you'll see this is a video that could really benefit from having captions.
This is a day in the life these days. We eat the same things every day. We watch movies and lay around just to pass time away.
So let's go into the new text panel here. We're going to go into the transcript tab. We're going to click on transcribe. Now, when I do that, all I have to do is choose the language of my video, click transcribe. It's automatically going to upload that video and analyze it, and it's going to return to us a fully time-coded transcript of everything spoken in that video, making it simple and easy to follow along with, even edit right on screen in Premiere. Let's take a look.
This is a day in the life these days. We eat the same things every day. We watch movies and lay around just to pass time away.
Awesome. Well, now that that's done, that's really only the first step. Now we want to create captions. Well, you'll notice that we have a button in here called Create Captions. And when I click on that, it will automatically transform that transcript into fully editable captions with this new captions track that you'll see inside of the Premiere Pro timeline. But it gets better than that, because leveraging the Essential Graphics panel, you can now use all of the stylization tools available in the EGP to stylize your content, use any of the 18,000 Adobe fonts, and truly make those captions your own. So cool, and we're so excited for you to start using this new speech-to-text workflow. And last but not least, let's move over to After Effects, our visual effects and motion graphics application. And I'd like to share with you some of the new features and improvements we've made around 3D. So here we have a very basic 3D scene, and I'm going to start by clicking on this front mountain layer. And when I do that, you're going to see something new. It's our new Universal Transform gizmo that makes manipulation easier, more intuitive, modern, and real-time. You can rotate and move on all axes. We even give you dimensional guides that provide detailed feedback so you can make pixel-perfect changes right on screen. We've reimagined the pan, orbit, and dolly controls, and the new default camera makes it so much easier to begin navigating around 3D space. There's even new hotkeys for all of this. But really, at the end of the day, it all comes to the playback. And the playback is being driven by a new, modern gaming-style engine that enables 3D layers to perform in real time, all on the GPU. And playback is more immediate than ever, truly reimagining how you work with 3D comps and After Effects. And these are just some of the latest innovations in Adobe Video. Thank you for listening. Back to you, Scott.
Thanks, Jason. Pan and Zoom and Auto Reframe are awesome additions to Premiere Rush. If you edit and publish a lot to social or are new to video, you've got to check out Rush. You're absolutely going to love it. And the speech-to-text tool in Premiere Pro and 3D design space in After Effects are major innovations that will save those of you who are video professionals a ton of time. And speaking of saving time, over the last year, the team has made some incredible performance improvements. In fact, video export and playback in the formats used most often on YouTube and social networks are now twice as fast in Premiere Pro and significantly faster than competing products. Many of the video tools you saw in Jason's demo are launching today, and some are in beta. To learn more about our newest video features, check out the session dedicated to video later today with Jason and award-winning director Ava DuVernay and actress Zendaya. Alas, we are about to wrap up this keynote. As you can see, there's just a ton of new value and features for you to dig into this year in Creative Cloud. To help you level up your skills, we've expanded our Adobe Live offering. We're opening up live streaming so you can go live from within our products. And we're bringing together a global community of photographers in Lightroom to share their images, their edits, and their inspiration. To accelerate collaboration, we're making Creative Cloud your creative system, helping unite dispersed teams through cloud documents, team libraries, and simple, seamless ways to work together like live editing in Adobe XD. And we're unleashing new forms of creation with the launch of Illustrator on the iPad, Fresco on the iPhone, and the Adobe Sensei-powered magic of neural filters in Photoshop. All of that, though, is really only scratching the surface. There is a ton more that will be shared in the sessions ahead. Let's take a quick look at some of the hundreds of innovations launching today throughout Creative Cloud.
That's right, all those features and many more, available now. Stick around for the breakouts where you get to go a lot deeper. This year, there are so many incredible sessions you can sign up for, including some you may not have heard of, such as the Photoshop Magic Wand. Can it be used to cast actual spells? Using your 1993 college ID to still get student pricing. 5 photographers talk about camera lenses while you zone out. Adobe Fresco. How we continue to profit off Michelangelo's Ghost. And finally, even I don't understand vectors, an Adobe executive comes clean.
Yes, so lots of workshops. And I want to give a special call out for the main stage session.
So fun fact, this is like breaking my internet. And this is the only screen that will show right now, and I can't get my next session to load. So I'm going to shut down the internet, and we might miss a couple minutes of the next session, but whatever. This is all I'm getting. This is so sad. Yeah. So fun fact, it's an entire CenturyLink outage. Convenient timing.